Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Joey Media Show. Tonight is another episode of Tech Tuesday, and as always, it's myself and Yanni on the show. Hello, Yanni. How are you doing?
How's it going, dude? It's been a while.
Going good, man. Going good. Before we get into anything, very quickly, if you're new to the channel, please like and subscribe the channels. Don't forget to also, if you have a very important question, just you need me to answer it, please give a super chat. I, by YouTube law, have to address it and have to look at it, and then also donate. You're basically supporting the channel, so that's awesome. And then if you do want to support the channel but you don't want to use YouTube, that's fine. You can go to a link in the description below and you can find out various different options where you can donate any amount you like. So, well, there's an option where you can where you can donate 50 Rand a month on my website. But there's other options as well. Bitcoin, EFT. I mean, you can just choose whichever one that you like. And if you do choose the 50 Rand in option one, 50 Rand a month option one, you can receive a free hat. But again, not on YouTube, on my website. Go to my website to find out more. And while you're at it, go check out rebelstoreza.com. Great shirts. And I'm wearing one now. We're both wearing one right now.
Yeah.
Represent. Okay.
Fleet and yo.
Moer.
I'll let you what that means.
All right, buddy. So I think we might have quite a few people tuning into this one. For those of you who don't know, Yanni and I were discussing the WhatsApp privacy policy a few weeks back, or I think it was about 2 weeks ago. And during that stream, we thought, hey, if that stream gets to 50 likes, we'll do a stream on social media and its privacy policies. And we're talking about every single social media platform. So Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, even though it's not with us, Parlay, TikTok, which is your wife's, I bet you she's watching right now with glued to the TV, and Gab and all those other guys. So, Yanni, is there a way where we can, obviously we're not going to go through the entire T's and C's. That's going to take forever.
But I think how we should have this discussion though, right, is firstly, it's actually a month ago that we had the show, because the second to last show we had was about tech and the future of tech and whatever.
The future of tech, yeah.
Which has some other shows coming. But something significant that I want to touch on, actually, we are 2 or 3 days out of me, and you, being free from WhatsApp. You know, it's been a month.
Oh, yeah,
and that's been interesting.
Well, it's not entirely true. You more so than me.
Yeah, and I understand why you still have WhatsApp, but you've also taken the decision to split it, and you are running it in a different device and things like that, and that's all fine.
Let me also clarify further. This phone, I have a business phone, and I have Telegram and WhatsApp, but I do not have Instagram and Facebook on that phone.
The evil. Yes. So I've and we need to talk about this, because I actually had a discussion or a conversation with my wife earlier around this, because I was giving a sneak peek of my thoughts of TikTok and their privacy policy, which doesn't exist. And I have an opinion about that now. But anyway, before we go there, what has it been like with not having WhatsApp? That's been great, actually, because it's forced me to learn, obviously, the Telegram platform. And I've had a couple of other people also comment to me that there's a couple of things that Telegram really does a lot better. Like having video calls from your PC, using your PC gear and whatever, your webcam, whatever, to have video calls. That's like pretty cool. And obviously the groups, dude, I've seen some groups that had 118,000 members in a group earlier today. I was showing my wife. That's just insane. Now, for us that don't like groups with 50 or 100 people, that gets really busy. Imagine 118,000 people commenting at the same time, and there's no slow mode. But anyway, so WhatsApp has been interesting not having that on my phone, because I've also not had Facebook and Instagram, just like you did. I'm actually even considering if I want Facebook anymore. Like, why do I have Facebook? Because I'm not using it. Like, I use it to remember birthdays, but other than that, it's like, why do I have it? It's not, um,
Yeah,
it's not
like
something that I use anymore. For me,
yeah,
I'm talking about me, right? You
yeah,
might be
yeah,
different.
yeah, yeah. I again, and we've had this discussion before, especially when we were talking about the social dilemma and stuff. As a entertainer slash YouTuber, social media can be very useful for me. In terms of getting my content out there. But I have, and I'm not reveal what the name of the profile, but I'm not gonna. I deleted my personal Joe Emilio Facebook account. It's gone, absolutely gone. I'm still on Facebook on my pages, but I made it so that when people search for me, either Joe Emilio, my Facebook page will come up, my comedian page, or the show Joe Emilio show will pop up. A lot of people are going to ask, how did you do that? Because you need a personal profile. Well, that's all you're going to hear from me for now.
Yeah.
And
Go
yeah.
search for Jonathan Emilio, guys. Search for Jonathan Emilio.
Damn it, Yanni! I told you that in confidence.
Oh, man.
Now all the wokies are going to
Just
go
go change it. I want to talk about that real quick, but before we get there, I want to mention that point around a pseudonym in when we talk about TikTok, but not TikTok, sorry, Twitter. But all these conversations, all of this started because we had a conversation around privacy. We had a conversation around WhatsApp changing their privacy policy again, and this has kind of forced us to really now have a look at privacy and what privacy means for us, because until this point, none of us have really ever stopped and asked who's listening, right? All of this private data that we have. Now, if you think about it, 2014, Amazon launched the Echo, okay? The Echo device, which is their home assistant speaker little gadget. And a lot of skepticism at the time, because you have one of the world's largest online retailers that now puts a listening device in your home. And 6 years later, 2020, 2021, Amazon has shipped over 100 million Echo devices, okay? Now, that is just one type of device. You have, the Google Home Hubs or the Nest Hubs, whatever they were called. There's millions of these things around the houses. Alexa has become a household name, and the statistics now says that 12% of homes around the world is considered smart homes. Now, their definition of a smart home is a home that has at least one or more connected devices. Now, that could also count as a cell phone maybe, but I'm saying is, okay, well, a lot of people have mobile devices. The mobile device world and mobile data and stuff, even up in Africa, has launched a lot of people into the future because of the lack of computers and connectivity. So I think they're talking about like smart TVs and something static in your house that is something static in your house that is connected. Sorry, I was distracted. I saw a members only thing. Is that why chat was
Yes,
quiet?
I've also been checking that. It turns out that yes, I did have that setting on, and I'm terribly sorry for those of you that are watching. That is an honest mistake. Usually I don't do that. I don't know why. I must have clicked it by accident when I was clicking a different setting. But I have changed it now. So for those of you that are watching and want to comment, just refresh. And you should be allowed to comment.
There we go. I saw a super chat. Thanks, Gerard.
Yes. And thanks.
Cool. Okay, well, thank you.
Yeah, Gerard, for pointing that out to us. It's greatly appreciated. Thank you so much for the super chat. Thank you so much.
I like the picture. Very cool picture. I like the beard. So now we're sitting with 12% of the homes that is considered as smart homes, right? So the forecast is by 2025, 4 years from now, that over 20% is going to have it's going to be these connected homes. Now, that means in 4 years from now, 1/5 of the world's homes will need to think very critically about data privacy. all of a sudden, because now we have your whole home broadcasting itself to these providers and
which
all of
is
these
a
things. Now, I
very
know,
scary thing.
yeah, now I know we are talking about mobile apps, but where the story kind of like starts, it's just about personal information and how easily we are giving that up. Now, I mean, Google, Alexa, Cortana, all of these smart home, smart security apps. You saw the IoT stream we did earlier where I control stuff from my phone and whatever. For the most part, these things I think are okay from a security perspective. They have encryption, they have authentication, multi-factor authentication. They tick all the right boxes for the bad actors out there that looking for the low-hanging fruit. You have a lot of very poorly developed technology, which usually comes from China, that doesn't have the good security and stuff in place. Now, those are low-hanging fruit for bad actors, like security cameras, all kinds of things. Imagine if
So,
you
okay, so sorry, I just want to make sure I'm following you here. So you're saying that the idea of like a smart home and the way in which technology is headed, privacy is going to become quite blurred, or at least we should start, I don't know, I wouldn't say, I don't know how to say it, not making a noise, but we should start paying more attention maybe to the T's and C's that are in certain technology or technological features, not just with applications, but also with whatever we invite into the home, so to speak.
exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. Now, if you think about it, everything that connects to the internet that we want to access from the internet when we're not at home, whatever, all of these things are typically devices that's broadcasting something about us to something somewhere, to someone somewhere. Okay. And the question
Which
we need to
is,
ask here is,
sorry, which means that just like we saw in the last stream with all the data sharing, now people or companies can see even more of our personal life. Yeah, that's kind of a scary thought. I just want to ask you one question. Let's because I know that there's a lot of people sitting now. They're waiting with beaten breath right now. Can you at least tell us before we get into the complexity of data sharing and where it's going to head to? Perhaps we should start with, in your opinion, very briefly, which one of the social media apps is the safest?
can I choose two?
You can.
MeWe and Gab.
Okay, so they have a pretty solid privacy policy, basically. Okay.
Yeah, and I want to get to that. So we're gonna unpack that a little bit because they have a really interesting approach to our information. Gab is on a thread here because if the moment Gab gets a mobile app, I might change my answer. The only
okay.
thing that goes good for Gab at the moment, or anything that's good for Gab at the moment, is the fact that they don't have a mobile app. So
you bring a good point up there because I watched an interview with Snowden on Joe Rogan, and he said that Facebook and all these social media platforms aren't that bad unless they're on a phone. Your phone is actually the problem.
exactly. So so I mean, and this is kind of like where we need to ask the question for behind the curtains: what happens with our data? Because our phone is something that broadcasts a lot of that data, but what does it matter? What does it matter if our phone broadcasts all of this information? Because it goes to a somewhere, it goes to a Facebook or a social media platform, a third party that needs access to this data aggregators that collects data about us, governments, whoever. I mean, some of this data goes somewhere, okay? And they all have a vested interest in our data. Now, we can go into what is it that we should be doing, and I think it's all about having these conversations. We should get a grip on our data by reading all of these policies, understanding what information it is that we are sharing. But I kind of just wanted to start the conversation there because if we look, and let me see if I can share my screen quick. I want to bring up, let's see if that goes. Do you see me sharing?
Yeah. Um, I like how Mr. Punisher is saying the real problem is the fact that you can't take battery out of your phone anymore. I agree with that, and that's also something that Snowden said. The fact that we can't take the battery out of the phone anymore is a huge problem. Because how do you know if it's really off? And that sounds a bit like conspiracy thing, but it's true. How do you know if it's really off?
Dude,
Anyway,
I
that's
have
a conversation for
seen
another day.
if you want to watch something scary, which I think is probably only touching on half of as scary as it really is. There's a show on Netflix called Spy Masters or Spy something. Somebody in the chat's going to help us right just now. I'll find the link. There's the first 1 or 2 episodes is really the best because that really goes into eavesdropping and how old some of these technologies around eavesdropping really is, and how people gained access to conversations and things that you would just think is absolutely not possible. And I know that you can buy certain little lead bags and things for mobile phones to make sure that those phones are inaccessible when it's switched off. Because with the right information, with the right equipment, you can still target somebody's phone and have it power up with just enough power to suck data off it. Now, it's a very broad statement that because it's really hard to do it in a world now where data is encrypted at rest, like the iPhones and the newer Samsungs and Androids. But scary on some of these technologies that's out there to gain access to your information. But again, the situation in this case is you are targeted as an individual because you are a person of interest or something. So I mean, it's not like all of our phones are going to get hacked now when it's off. The situation is slightly different. But the slide that I have on here is about our conversation a month ago, where we spoke about all the different apps and what these apps typically collect and share back to their provider. Now, the point we were trying to make there is, well, WhatsApp, the first 3 blocks there, the Facebook, WhatsApp, and Instagram block, is kind of like all of their data is matched up because it's all one company. It's under the same company of Facebook. The risk that I don't think we're really covered here, and that's what I'm going to try and kind of just have a discussion around today, is in the end, all of these guys collect data about us. And I think we need to get to the point where it's probably okay that they collect it. The issue is, what do they do with that data? Facebook, we know, is selling that data. We know that because it's very weirdly worded in how they say that, but depending on from which perspective you look at it, companies that want to tap into that data, they actually get very rich information about us as an individual from Facebook ad data. Now, that Facebook ad data is now being enriched with Instagram and WhatsApp, which is going to be something we either need to be okay with or not be okay with, at some point. What I did do, though, is if I skip to the next slide real quick, let's just touch on TikTok, Gab, and Twitter. So I don't have Parler on here because Parler cannot. Parler doesn't have a website anymore. So Parler, let me bring up. Let me just pop this out. So Parler. This is Parler's website. Technical difficulties, blah, 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 whatever. There's nothing to click here. There's nothing for us to do on Parler at the moment. So, yeah, unfortunately, we can't report on Parler. That would have been an interesting comparison. But, we'll keep abreast with that because we'll go and look at Parler when it stands up its services again, if they do. But let's look at TikTok real quick. So TikTok collects quite a bit of data about us when we use it. And I'm not going to go into all the details of every little one, but I mean, they collect a lot of behavioral information, our sharing information, the messages we send. They do specifically state they collect the data about the messages that we sent. So not just who do I send it to, no, messages. So I can DM in TikTok.
So the DM messages, not your SMS.
Oh, right. Yes. So TikTok DMs. Okay, we need to update that. TikTok DMs. So your DMs. So, but they collect the actual content of the DM. So if you are using certain keywords or whatever, they might be able to pick that up. because that's not end-to-end encrypted. They can actually read your messages, whatever. I'm just saying. Like,
To be
I'm saying
fair,
it's all
though,
bad.
I'm gonna push back here. To be fair, like let's be honest here. There are other applications if you want to start messaging people. Like, I wouldn't say that TikTok is gonna lead the revolution in secret, if that makes
No, no,
sense. You
no,
know, if you're gonna
100%.
plan a revolution, you shouldn't do it on TikTok.
No, 100%. All I'm saying is that just understand that they don't care about protecting end-to-end encryption, this and that, and
Yeah,
whatever
but
messages. So
dude, come
it's
on.
all
Nobody on TikTok is having serious conversations. Nobody on TikTok is, that's my point. Like, most of the people on TikTok, let's be real, are saying, "Hey, baby, what are you doing tonight?"
yeah,
Like, it's
maybe,
not like government
and it's fine.
secrets or anything.
And it's fine. Maybe it isn't. I don't know. I don't know what people say on TikTok and stuff like that. So all I'm saying is just there's an app that those messages they actually tap into it. So guys, be
Yeah,
aware. Don't send PIN codes to your girlfriend
that's a good,
over
okay, fine. That's a good
messages
point.
or
Yeah.
whatever. Like, just be careful what you share over it because that
Yeah.
content is readable by them. Now, let's also be honest. How many users are on TikTok?
Quite a lot, I believe.
So they're not really going to sit and listen to all of our messages. Now, Reese brings up a good point in chat that you can't send pictures. That is a really good point to bring up because
Well, she says you can't send nudes.
no, what she did correct herself in the second one.
Oh,
It's actually any pictures. You can't send any pictures, which is I think is a good thing because TikTok is known to be used in a way that it was not intended for with people, and that's a point that I want to touch on around the age, and I did list it there. Most social media platforms, including TikTok, is a age restriction of 13. Gab, however, is age restriction of 18. You're not allowed to be under 18 years to use Gab. I just found that interesting because all the other platforms are 13. So again, I'm not stuck on the images. I'm just saying, we need to just be aware that that content is not encrypted. Context, like I said, age, username, password, language, email, phone number, they know all these things. Profile and social media info, the reason why I put an asterisk there is it's when you link the two, like when you go on TikTok and say share to Facebook or whatever. Like all they are saying is when you do that, they are willingly now sharing information, which means Facebook now says, "Oh, TikTok, let's see what I can suck from the TikTok feed because of that interaction." Twitter, whatever else you can, I don't know what all the options is, but you can share between these two.
Yeah, so basically, for example, if you have Facebook, you've linked TikTok and Facebook. On TikTok, you're watching a lot of DIYs. Facebook will then throw in your face, I don't know, Suzelle DIY, for example, and other DIY content and advertising.
Yeah. So all I'm saying is TikTok is now willingly interacting with a third party that you are sharing with, and they are sharing information. And the reason why I'm mentioning that is, and we're going to get to that, is in Gab, not Gab, sorry, in MeWe. But anyway, all the user-generated content and messages, it's obviously implied that anything you do on their platform, they kind of like can tap into. It's not just the metadata because it's all open to the public. It's not encrypted, whatever. So they have all the information around all of the things you do on that platform. Payment information, where you use that platform to do payments. Now, it's listed in the terms of service. I've not seen where I would use to pay for it unless it's the live stream thing where you can
I think it's
like
the live stream thing, yeah.
kudos and all kinds of like things that gives like the in-app currency. So, they collect payment info, your phone and social network contact. So again, it is picking up your contacts that you have on your social network, your internet network activity, IP address, geolocation, device info, and interestingly, their browsing history and cookies as well. So they tap into your browsing history. Like they explicitly say they tap into your mobile phone's browsing history. So again, ad info, it's all rich. You Google for a new watch or whatever. Yeah, there we go. So it's the gifts that you give when you go live. So you obviously pay for it in one way. Now, I would want to argue that point and say I've obviously thrown some gifts to my wife when she goes live, you pay for it using Apple Pay. So the Apple's payment method for that. So it's like not like they have my credit card info, but I don't know what it's like on an Android device or something else. All I'm saying is that they do collect payment info. This is not about saying it's good or bad. This is just about saying the what. And they are collecting that.
I don't know, dude. I don't know what the big fuss is with TikTok. It's pretty much like every other, in my opinion, Facebook is worse.
Yeah. No. I'm not saying TikTok's bad. I'm just saying that if you have TikTok on your phone, you may as well just have Facebook. Because TikTok is not sharing anything less that Facebook's not already sharing. Facebook is just sharing it at a much bigger scale. So, because the question we need to ask now is, right, so we've gone and removed Instagram, WhatsApp, and Facebook from our phones, but we still have TikTok. Does that mean we need to remove TikTok as well? It's the question we're asking ourselves. Where do we draw the line? I don't know. Do I keep TikTok on my phone? Do I not have it on my phone? I don't know.
I think what the biggest thing is that, TikTok, I think, is a Chinese company. So a lot of people are worried about giving their information to China. And I think that's where the big concern is. Honestly, here's my thing, right? I have TikTok, again, because I'm a personality. I'm in the public. I have gotten the best views on TikTok, far more than YouTube. And
really?
now yeah, dude, I'm hitting 20K views and 50K views. Like, it's insane. And I've also surpassed it's the platform now with my most following. So I think I just hit 6,600 following, which is more than my Facebook page. And my Facebook page was this amount of following. Not that 6,000 is a lot. I'm just saying. So like, for me as a person who's putting out content, a YouTuber, TikTok is very useful for me. It is not as useful as Instagram. So I did a bit of an experiment before I deleted Instagram and Facebook and stuff. I put out videos. When I put out something on TikTok, I put it out on everything: Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and I wanted to see which platform worked the best, and it was TikTok that worked the best. Second was Twitter. My videos on Twitter do really well. And then it was, okay, Gab, I'm still building. I won't include Gab. I don't Gab as much. Twitter, yeah, Facebook, and then Instagram. Instagram was like the worst. Like, nobody.
And your YouTube?
I don't know. Oh yeah, YouTube. Sorry, YouTube would then be between Twitter and Facebook.
Okay.
Sorry, forgot about YouTube.
And okay.
Yeah.
That's interesting. And I mean, again, I'm not saying we need to jump off TikTok. I'm not bad-mouthing it. I'm not forcing my wife to jump off it. We're just having a conversation about this personal thing, because after this, we need to make a decision. Where do we draw this line? What is it that we share? I don't know what the answer is, because I also like living in 2020.
Yeah. I guess the right answer would be this. If you are someone who is concerned about and we said this in the last episode as well, if you're someone who's concerned about your personal information, and regardless of what the companies are using your personal information for, then you need to make a decision on your own to decide for yourself. Okay, cool. Do I want Facebook, Twitter, all these social media platforms to have unlimited 360-degree access to my information, or do I want to limit some of it? Because in a way, and this is kind of like maybe me just being, I don't know, maybe I'm saying this to help me sleep at night. I feel that the fact that Facebook and Instagram cannot suck any more information out of me, and WhatsApp, I'm like, okay, TikTok, you can have what you want. It's fine. Like, but I don't have 3 other big tech companies just throwing crap in my face. And I think this is the point I'm trying to get to. If I go on Instagram, I'm seeing the same ad. If I'm going on Facebook, I'm seeing the same ad. If I'm going on TikTok or Twitter, I'm seeing the same ads over and over. So now, instead of me being inundated with all this information, I experience it maybe on one app. And to be fair, TikTok's advertising is not bad. Like they don't really advertise. They're just very good at keeping you on that platform.
I didn't know that they advertise. Does TikTok advertise?
They do have ads, but it's not
I'm not
anywhere near as bad as it only happens when you open the app. Then it will say like skip, and that's the only thing they ever add as when you open. Other than that, they're very good at just pushing content to you that you like, that they really learn what you like. Like if you like funny videos of cats, then that's pretty much all you're gonna get. So they're very good with that.
I've not seen ads on TikTok. I don't think I use it enough for them to send me an ad. They know they're wasting an ad on me. So
I'll show you.
So that's interesting.
Okay, it doesn't always happen,
but
usually right when you open, you'll see at the top corner of the screen you'll say skip, and then yeah. So yeah. But anyway, I'm just trying to say, and you guys can judge me all you like. Maybe if I wasn't a YouTuber, maybe if I wasn't a public personality, I wouldn't be on TikTok. Honestly, and I'm going to be dead honest here, I spend way more time uploading content and checking how people are responding to that content than I am looking at TikTok. I mean, I spend way more time on YouTube and on Twitter than I do on TikTok, put it that way. But anyway, looking at your thing here, I don't see what the big fuss is about.
No. And I don't want to badmouth TikTok at all. This is just we're just talking about these things. In the end, what I do like about TikTok is they actually have quite a clear policy around how they share our information.
That's good. Yeah.
And they are saying that they are committed. Exactly. And very clearly written. They are saying that we are committed to maintaining your trust. And while TikTok does not sell personal information to third parties, we want you to understand when and with whom we may share the information we collect for business purposes. And then with your consent, we may share your information to other purposes pursuant to your consent or with your further direction. Now, let me reread this. They say, with...
You said it was very clear. You
Hold
can
on.
read it.
I know.
Hold on. Let you get your thoughts together. I just want to say, Willem, you need to press the notification. And if you still do not get any notifications, then please, there's a link on my website. So go to my website, joeymedia.co.za. It will send you'll see on the website, there is a link to my Telegram group where you will get notifications.
Yeah, or hit the bell icon, disable it, and re-enable it again. I find that works as well. But sometimes you just need to wake up the bell icon. So there's a heading that says with your consent under the heading of how they share our information. That says we may share your information for other purposes pursuant to your consent or with your further direction. And if you access third-party services such as Facebook, Google, or Twitter, that they may share some information. So they're quite open about that in terms of these third parties, and that these third party services may be able to collect information about you, including information about your activity on the platform, and they may notify your connections on the third party services about your use of the platform. So in accordance with their privacy policies. So what they are saying is hey, we do share some stuff with you, but also be cognizant of who we're sharing it with, and they have their own privacy policies. And the reason why I want to bring that up is because we're going to get to MeWe. We're going to get to MeWe. But let's hurry this up. Gab is interesting. Gab splits their way of information in two things. They are saying it's either personally identifying, and I don't know why I put a comma there. It should be personally identifying versus individually does not identify you. So we spoke about this in our previous stream. I see a post-it note with Joe written down onto it. And that post-it note is stuck onto a CAT scan. I know it's a CAT scan and I know it's Joe's. Okay? But if that CAT scan and that post-it note were to be in a open area within a company where there's only Joe that works in that company, and I happen to stumble upon that post-it note on that CAT scan, X-ray, whatever, then yeah, that's now a lot more personally identifying because there's only one Joe working there, that type of thing. So they really do distinguish in their privacy policy around that. So the fact that they're only in a browser, it means they can really only collect some information from you. So your internet connection, your IP address, your browser details, and then how you use their platform, who your contacts are on their platform. I follow Joe, Joe follows me, whatever. I interact with Joe 10 times a day, that type of stuff. There's really very little that Gab collects about us or can collect about us, because the other stuff now that I did the etc. there is, your email address, your username, the Joe Emilio, the Yanni van der Walt, the things we signed up with. I mean, there is some other things they collect from us, but I mean, that's all of the platforms does that. But there's very little that Gab really collects. But something interesting, and we touched on that, Gab is browser-based only. So oddly enough, for me, there's something good about that, because in a browser, you have a lot more control with what happens. You can either open up that Gab browser or that Facebook or whatever in a private window, or I know Firefox has a plugin called Temporary Containers, I think. What Temporary Containers does is every window you open up, so every tab that comes up in your browser is actually isolated. It runs every tab as if it's a private browser. Gives you a bit of a nicer experience. Painful to use because you can't copy and paste between stuff and whatever. But again, depending on how serious you want to be about some of these things, it's actually a lot different when you don't access these services using the mobile app on a mobile phone. You're just using your browser to do it because they can't tap into all of the sensors, etc. Your browser will prompt you when it asks you for your location-based info. You can block that while still using the app. So I think that's a good thing. Twitter, on the other hand, Twitter is quite open with what they share. There's two interesting points I want to mention on Twitter. It just made me laugh. But from an app perspective, they collect your device type, IP, email address, phone number, contacts, all the obvious things like who you tweet, who you retweet, the retweets about you, all of the up and downs, all of that stuff they collect about you. Payment info, when you're using them as a payment platform. You can also obviously have ads on Twitter, so you can register yourself to have ads and things. So they collect all of that ad info. They actually collect ad info from your browser and from third-party apps on your phone. So Twitter taps into that. So they do state that their ads comes from cookies and things on your phone and on your PC from your browser, etc. So they're open with that. I put control up on the top there because they, throughout their privacy policy, state quite a bit that you have control over what you share and how you share and all those things. Okay. We need to go and really look at how they are flaunting that word control and how it really looks when we use it in an app, like what gets shared. But they do state you have control over this, not as well as how MeWe does it. But interesting though, Twitter has two things that they say that stood out for me in the privacy policy. Now let me read it for context. Twitter is saying that Twitter is public, and tweets are immediately viewable and searchable by anyone around the world. Okay, good, we know that. We give you non-public ways to communicate on Twitter too, through protected tweets and direct messages. We know that. But then they say, you can use Twitter under a pseudonym if you prefer to not use your name. Like, that's something that we know from Twitter trolls perspective and things that... Twitter is full of trolls, people using pseudonyms and whatever. Now, I know the pseudonym thing could be touchy because I know people have stage names and that type of stuff, and I can appreciate that. But you also have Twitter is a cesspool for trolls, for people that just wants to say something on Twitter, and they don't act under a name that is in some way identifiable back to them as an individual. So, but they openly say, hey, if you don't like to use your name, then use a pseudonym. That just stood out for me in the policy. Then under the next bullet, so these are the first two bullets within their privacy policy, they say, when you use Twitter, even if you're just looking at tweets, we receive some personal information from you, like the type of device you're using, your IP address. You can choose to share additional information with us, like your email address, phone number, address book, contacts, public profile, etc. We use this information for things like keeping your account secure and showing you more relevant tweets, people to follow, events, and ads. And the ads thing kind of like just links back to the third-party ad info, where they then go and say, right, how do we tap into all of these ads? Because they tap into your mobile browser, your PC browser, they go and hunt for cookies and whatever. So they obviously, live off that ad info. Those two things kind of just stuck out for me. But they do say we have a lot of control over that. I do want to go back. I know in Twitter you can stop people from DMing you. You can stop people from just friending you. You need to approve it. So, there's a couple of things that Twitter, I know, does. I think even TikTok has that. But they do make it up through their privacy policy. Like, you have a lot more control, like your email address, this, that, and that type of stuff. Now, I know you can't see everybody's email, phone number, and details. So I think it might be just inherently off by default, because I've not seen a place where you can go and enable that. But the point I was just trying to make is Twitter might not be that bad, other than the fact that they are actually tapping into your third-party info. Now, your third-party ads. The one thing I didn't really see clearly is if they sell your data or not, and how they use that. I actually need to go and specifically search for those points.
Okay. Twitter doesn't. I'm surprised. I thought Twitter was I thought Twitter was going to be just as bad as Facebook, but I'm pleasantly surprised with Twitter.
They collect a lot of information. It's just how they use it. Facebook uses it like Facebook's first priority is to send ads to people. Twitter doesn't come forward like that. It's not to send ads to people. Now,
okay.
Gab, not Gab. I keep on saying MeWe. MeWe is interesting. We could have just spoken about MeWe first, and then just everything else would not have been as bad, I guess. But MeWe has something called a privacy. No, we could have spoken about MeWe first, and then everything else would have been bad, like even worse than what it is now. Because I don't think you really understand how bad it is until you read something like MeWe's Privacy Bill of Rights. That's how they call it. Okay, and the words they're using, we don't have to go through every one of these things, but the words they're using is like, you own your personal information and the content. It's explicitly not ours. You never receive targeted third-party advertisements or targeted third-party content. We think it's creepy. Like, permissions and privacies are your rights. You control them. Like, they are like, they're stating it over and over again that you own your private information and how that information is used. Now, even with all of that, they do collect a little bit of information about you. But something that I do want to mention is in their Bill of Rights, and I took 4 paragraphs from it. I mean, it's a bit of a document, but a couple of pages. But these 4 things for me stood out. They are saying is, you are our customer to delight, not data to sell or allow others to target. You own your content. We don't. We don't share your content with marketers. Third parties cannot pay MeWe to target you. At MeWe, you have full control over your newsfeed and the order in how your posts appear.
Okay, before you continue, sorry, I want to interject something very important for the viewers that are watching. 1, MeWe is not sponsoring this episode because Yanni is really talking them up right now. And then 2, there's a reason for their approach here, and I think it's important to mention it now before people start going over to MeWe and like, oh my word, I'm signing up now. You have to pay. You have to pay.
Yeah, that's a free version of MeWe. Let's
but you still get ads with the free version. If it's ad free after you pay, and Gab works the same way. So
you have to pay to
that's
unlock
important
some
to mention.
features.
Yeah, it's important to mention. But yeah, go on. Second paragraph. We don't track to sell your data.
So we don't track to sell your data to third parties. And we do not track you to manipulate your newsfeed. And we do not track you when you're
not on MeWe.
Okay, so that was interesting because they like say these things like, we do not sell your data, we don't track you for third parties, we don't manipulate your newsfeed. And those are the things that we're worried about by
Yes.
having targeted ads, targeted content. Oh, Joe is on the fence whether he should vote like this or vote like that. Let's send Joe more of these things. Let's convince Joe to be, you know, on this side of the fence or that side of the fence. Like that's the type of stuff that I see there, you know, is that they're not manipulating us, because we can quite easily be manipulated by social media. So
I think the third paragraph is my favorite so far.
So we may share and match your information against databases with third parties bound by confidentiality who specialize in identifying trolls, bots, scammers, spammers, fake accounts, stalkers, or illegal activity. And we may also use pattern tracking to identify and remove disruptive elements such as trolls, bots, scammers, blah, 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 blah. I love
Yes.
that, because this is the first time I've seen them saying like, not, hey, if you don't want to be Joe Emilio, you can be some pseudonym. Like if you want to, like, you know, do this. They're not encouraging to have trolls and whatever. Like that for me was awesome. Now my favorite paragraph is the next one. I love this one as well. We use third-party service providers to help operate MeWe, such as with hosting and to protect our users. We may share your information with these service providers on the condition that they use your private personal information only on our behalf and consistent with this privacy policy. Now, let's just think back on what we read about Gab. Gab said that just know that, you know, we do share information and be aware of their privacy policy. MeWe is saying is, it's fine, I will share this stuff with you, but you can only use it in accordance with my privacy policy. Like, that's interesting. That I like, because that means, like, if I've read this, I don't need to worry about 5 other things. And that gets back to your earlier point, whereas you're dealing with one stream of information, with one stream of ads, one stream of something. I think this for me stood out. I mean, they don't have a massively lengthy privacy policy. Obviously, I love reading these things, but this for me was like, I left MeWe for last, but I mean, actually, Gab was last. MeWe was second last. But this for me was like, wow, okay, this is the last slide. This is how I want to end this conversation. Like MeWe for the win. You know, I'm not saying everybody go around jumping to MeWe. Like Joe says, MeWe is paid for. Some stuff in MeWe isn't free. Like if you want to use video journals and video stories, you need to pay like 39 Rand. If you want to have video calling and voice calling, there's some payment there. If you want to use emoticons and custom unlimited stickers, you pay a little bit. Themes, you pay. 100 gig of MeWe cloud storage, you pay. Like, they do, you know, collect a little bit of money on the platform. I think it's like, and that's fine, because I saw a comment, I think it's COVID-21 Solutions says, if it's free, if you're the product. You know, agreed. Do you recall WhatsApp a couple of years ago was paid for? Every year you had to pay 7 Rand for WhatsApp.
Yeah, but I never paid.
How did you never pay? Okay, I used WhatsApp. I used WhatsApp when WhatsApp still cost 7 Rand a year. For the first 2 or 3 years of me using WhatsApp, I had to pay 7 Rand a year.
Okay, wait. Anybody who's watching this now in the comments, did you pay for WhatsApp? Because I never paid. I think I paid once.
To buy the app, probably, and then the policy changed, yeah.
Like,
when Facebook bought them, the policy changed.
No, dude, way before. When WhatsApp first came out, there was that whole, like, you know, after a year you have to pay. But I never paid, and I think it's because I changed my phone or I changed my number. I know that happened once or twice, obviously reset. But the one time where it said 7 Rand to continue, I didn't pay and it just continued. I think it was a scam.
No, I paid a few times.
Yeah, see,
I've used WhatsApp since earlier.
Never paid. No. Been using it since 2014. There you go.
No, I've used WhatsApp since way earlier than 2014. The first 2 or 3 years, you had to pay for WhatsApp. I still recall using WhatsApp on a BlackBerry.
Yeah, me too.
And WhatsApp, you had to pay. Dude, we need to go.
Like I said, I paid once. I remember paying once.
When
maybe
Facebook bought them, the payment dropped because Facebook clearly said they will make their money out of targeted ads
yeah.
and not for collecting the payments of it. There was a whole thing about monthly billing versus annual billing and whatever, and eventually it was like an annual billing thing for R7. In South Africa, it was R7. It was or R14 or something. It was like a 99-cent app. It was that magic 99-cent app. But I'm talking about way back in the beginning. It cost money. Again, in here, I'm more than happy now that I've read through this, because remember I told you initially, like I installed the app, looked at it, and like, I'm not paying for it, uninstalling it. Now I'm like, okay, I feel different about this. I don't mind paying a couple of rand a month towards this app because this app protects my privacy. They're quite clear with if they do share my stuff, what they do with it. I know I'm not going to have trolls, bots, scammers, spammers, fake accounts, and stalkers and whatever. So I'm okay to pay for that. I'm willing to pay 89 rand a month for that. I'm not going to go and sign up right now, but if I were to cross over to MeWe, I would pay that because of what they do. I don't know what the answer is yet. Like I told you the other day, the Oculus devices, the augmented reality headsets, Oculus right now has the nicest ones, and Oculus is owned by Facebook, which means you need to give up your Facebook account and then collect all of that personal bunch of personal information about you. Obviously, I want to buy an Oculus, but the question is, if your Facebook account, depending on what type of content you put out on Facebook, if your Facebook account then ever gets banned or deplatformed or whatever, then you lose access to all your games, all of the apps you bought on the Oculus, whatever. So there you now need to go onto like some studio account just to have some segregation with your device. So I don't like that. I don't like that you being forced now when you use this device, I have to have a Facebook account. I can't just have an email address and sign up to their own service. But yeah, we're digressing.
Yes, I think we're so okay, Yanni. Simple answer here. In your professional opinion, which social media platform has the best privacy? Like list them in like a from best to worst privacy policy in your opinion.
Oh, best to worst. MeWe, Gab, Twitter, TikTok,
Oh wow.
Instagram, WhatsApp, Facebook is combined. I'm looking at all the ones we reviewed now. I'm excluding obviously Signal and Telegram because they're not social media platforms, they're communication platforms. Although Telegram did announce that they are actually, on the long run, see their channel concept being a Twitter contender, being a Twitter. Because even my wife commented and said that something that she likes, like, why can't all the groups be like this? And I said to her, yes, groups and channels and whatever, but she loves the fact that some of the groups or content creators with their channels in Telegram have a channel where they post all the content, and then there's a group behind that so that you can talk about that specific topic, and you don't have this whole flood of just this random group with a bunch of everybody's memes and nonsense. It's a bit more controlled in a way in terms of how you access and consume that information. Now, that is something that I see Telegram is going to, I don't want to use the word exploit here, but Telegram is going to work on to improve, because they did announce, and it's been a while back though, they did announce that 2021, they were going to start not monetizing, but have a premium type of service for businesses and whatever. And again, it is because they're completely self-funded at the moment. They're not getting their money in other ways, selling ads, selling whatever, selling on content and stuff like that. So they are going to start generating income or revenue through their business aspect of their platform. And I think that's where they're going to start targeting that at. Because to be honest, we can't just have the WhatsApp Facebook partnership in this world. You're going to need to have some other contender there, and I think that's where Telegram is going to be.
Yeah, it
Gonna
doesn't
be
have to
strong,
be
but-
Twitter though. I mean, it's cool and whatever, but Twitter, man, why not Gab or something? I don't know. Okay, so I do want
Yeah,
to
but
say
the
something.
Twitter
Hold on.
like, the Gab like, so it's.
Yanni loves interrupting me. Yanni, can you read that name for me, please? Because I struggle to read that name. I know who it is.
Ideas vol vrees.
Yes, anybody who doesn't know that.
Ideas full of vrees. What's vrees?
Yes, his actual name is something Galloway. He's gonna hate the fact I just had it in my mind right now. I swear. But he's an old friend / fellow comedian, and he actually has a book, but with the same title, and he has a Facebook page with the same title. Funny Afrikaans cartoons. Really, really funny stuff. Please go check him
Quibus
out, and
Galloway.
thank you. What?
Quibus Galloway.
Yes, Cobus Galloway. Thank you.
I've pasted his thing in chat.
Yes, so please go check him out. It's really funny stuff. Some of it I don't always understand, but most of it I do, and it's always fun. So thank you, Cobus, for tuning in tonight. You are, dude. You must actually contact me and come on the channel. Would love to talk to you about your book and stuff. So he says, there you go, Lekker Joe. So there you go, and Yanni has posted the link in the description, or sorry, the live chat. All right, cool. So we have 4 minutes left, Yanni. I'm not gonna lie, your list was a bit surprising. Twitter was number 3. MeWe was 1. What was the other one? The second one was Gab. Okay. Interesting. Well, there you go, ladies and gentlemen. Now you know which social media platforms are the most private and which ones aren't really that private. TikTok, I was expecting to be last. So I guess Reese is jumping up and down with joy that
she's safe.
TikTok has at least beat the giant of Facebook, Instagram, and WhatsApp, but they really fall under the same umbrella. So yeah, that very interesting chat. And I think just to end off and wrap off a bit, circling back to what we were talking about in the beginning of this episode. We live in an age now where technology, whether we like it or not, is here to stay, and it's going to continue to grow. It's going to continue to evolve. It's going to continue to infiltrate our lives. As Yanni mentioned in the beginning, we will have eventually, maybe years to come still, but eventually we'll have robots in our living rooms. We'll have a fridge that can talk back to us, and we'll have a car that can drive itself, all of which interlinked and maybe controlled from either, who knows, an island or maybe our phones still. All of it sharing information constantly, learning our habits, learning what we like, learning our behavior. So at what point are we going to say to these big tech companies, hey, privacy, what is your definition of privacy? And how much are you going to be willing to give them? I think that's a good question for people to ask themselves.
And it's going to remain largely unanswered because we are sitting in a situation where we don't have the control we wish we have. Because I don't know what the answer after this is. Am I deleting TikTok? Am I installing Facebook? What is it that we should be doing? In the end, I just think the best thing we can do, it's 2021. Guys, we should have worried about privacy back in 2020, 2011, 2010, whenever we installed that first mobile app on our mobile phone. We should have worried about it then. But we didn't because we didn't care about it. The other day I did a Google search for a term that we use at work. The other day, like in this week, like yesterday I did it. And we
the other day,
exactly,
like this
yesterday.
week, like yesterday.
I did it, and I Googled for a term that we use at work. Now, I'm not going to say the term and whatever. It's got nothing to do with the conversation, really. But the term came up because it's an industry term, but it's a unique term. So I wasn't sure if it's just something internal to us, my company, and or if it was a industry term really as common as something like ABS in a car, like ABS brakes in a car. And the first link that Google brought up is an article that a guy that no longer works for my company wrote in 2005. And in that article, right at the end, is his email address, his cell phone number, his office number, his office where he works at, and all of that detail. Dude, that's 16 years ago. 16 years ago, I would publish an article onto the interwebs with all of my information, my cell phone number. Would we do that today? No, we won't. So the thing is, we need to just be very, very careful.
There's a lot of businesses that share their details like that.
It's different, though. It's different. I just think, like, if you were to put an article out about comedy or whatever, although, again, it's different because that's also you as a brand. As an individual, I just think, would you put your personal cell phone number out there? Dude, it's 16 years ago. That is a person's personal number. It's the number you phone him on.
Yeah, no, I hear what you're saying. Like, you don't want to put your personal number out there because we've heard horror stories of people that take your personal number and put some weird ad on Gumtree, and then all of a sudden you have these weird people calling you up for some dildo that you never bought. So, yeah, it's a bad idea to put your personal cell phone number out in the public today. But some people are okay with it. I don't know. It depends on who you are. Some people really don't care about this stuff. I've had conversations with these people. They really don't care. They're not bothered by it. They're like, it's fine. Whoever wants to know about me can know about me. I really don't care. And it's fine. It's fine. Yanni and I just thought we'd have the conversation. For those of you that are concerned, and even if you're not concerned, at least you know a little bit more now than you did an hour ago. So yeah, an hour. We do have to cut it off. Yanni, is there? I did cut you off, so I'm sorry. You can finish your thought.
No. I think all I wanted to say is I think the best thing we can do is to try and retain control as much as possible to the point that we have to share the information. And then if we do have to share the information, let's not try and share that information unnecessarily to an untrusted or unfamiliar type of entity, I guess. So I know that's a very open thing. We can interpret that in very different ways. But what I'm trying to say is don't just click the I acknowledge button. Try and read through it. Just try and understand some of these things. That's the only thing we can do right now because, we're in 2021. We need to be honest with ourselves. Not having any form of mobile app, social media app on your phone, whatever, is going to cut you off. For a lot of people, they don't have a computer to access social media from, which means their phone is their only place to do it from. So be a little bit more aware when your phone asks you to share your location. Like, why does Twitter need to share my location? Like, I'm just consuming content of Twitter or whatever. Everybody's different. There's no one answer for everybody. Just try and understand and read through those things. I think that's the only thing we can do.
Yeah, and you also don't have to read the entire T's and C's. I mean, you can if you want, but you can just skip to the privacy. There is a heading.
Usually,
you just skip. Yeah. So don't panic, everybody. You don't have to read a 20-page T's and C's thing, which I know a lot of people don't have time for. But I don't know, Yanni. I think the majority of people don't really care. But again, at least we can say on this channel that we tried to warn you when the robot says, "You've just sold me your soul." All right, cool. Look, it was very interesting conversation. I'm still a bit shocked about your list of which ones are safe. That was very interesting, but I trust you. And I think we're making interesting changes to our lives. How has it been for me not using Facebook on my phone? It's actually been quite nice. I'm not gonna lie. Like it's there are moments where I'm like, oh shit, I can't go on Facebook, but then I'm just enjoying life.
My battery still lasts 2 days. So
that's true. My battery is much better. All right, cool. So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, please don't forget to go check out Rebel Store ZA. com. Great shirts there. Please also don't forget that you can, if you enjoy this content and you want to support me, please go to my website, find out how you can support this channel. Please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe if you're new. Also, Kobus, if you're still watching, please get in contact with me. I'd love to have you on the show and discuss your comedy career and your cartoons. I think they're hilarious. And please go check them out as well. And with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, I will be back at some point. I haven't decided yet, but I will be back. And Yanni and I will be doing a series in the Tech Tuesday conversation about the future of tech. We're breaking it up into categories, and we're gonna just talk about different. So, for example, we'll talk about traveling and space travel. What is the future of that? What is the future of biotech? What is the future of weapons? What is the future? So on and so forth. We're gonna break it up into episodes, and we're gonna talk about this stuff. I cannot wait to start that conversation. So, ladies and gentlemen, once again, thank you guys so much for tuning in. Thank you for the super chats as well. Please, ladies and gentlemen, stay safe, be kind to one another, and I'll see you at the next one. Cheers.